from the Trenton Recall 2011 committee. Trenton Recall 2011 is here to address a few things today. First, we want to talk a little bit about the recall itself. Secondly, we like to banish the notion that race has anything to do with our desire to recall the mayor. And lastly, we want to address the inappropriate incident that happened this past Saturday. Sitting here with me are some of the people that have been through the whole process with us, and four of these people are going to speak. Darren Freedom Green, Joe Carroll and Dan Clark, Ada Winbush, and Tracy Zygas. We're going to start with Darren.
Hey, Darren. All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Truth can oftentimes manifest itself, and people without eyes can't see it. Those without ears can't hear it. But those of us that can must speak to the issues. What occurred Saturday was an atrocity. It wasn't a black thing. It wasn't a white thing. It was a wrong thing. In the process of assessing this situation, we have to examine what occurred. I tried to allow a young man to understand how severe it was. That if he himself was a minority, was placed into that position, and a Caucasian, or two Caucasians had accosted him and verbally assaulted him, and racial epithets were put into the atmosphere, this town would be on fire. People would be calling for outcry. People would be on their cell phones trying to call Reverend Al Sharp. But we must again assess ourselves and our moral compass and say, what is wrong when we as citizens sit back and allow this kind of behavior to be tolerated? It is unacceptable. It is reprehensible. We must stand up on our level and say no. Now, the secondary failure is, of course, administration. The mayor today was contacted, and his reply was, I'm focusing on being a good mayor. Sir, you have no concept, clue, or ideology on what that consists of. But let me help you with that. First and foremost, I would have repudiated those statements and that demoralizing behavior. I would have divorced myself from the individuals who said they were supporters of me, because that is an ideology that we do not support in Trenton, and Trentonians are not about. And that is not conducive to growth and development in our city. He should have immediately brought those two individuals in. Their names are printed in the paper. They're depicted on the video that is being seen now worldwide. And they should be held accountable. A charge I can look at will be conduct unbecoming of city employees. That's terms for removal. This is not a game here, this is business. Kevin Moriarty could have got seriously hurt. Lives could have been damaged out there. And unless you set precedents, and law and order is the order of the day, then we will have reckless abandonment all over the place. So the mayor failed us again miserably. And again, the administration itself left us again with no substance and no foundation. But let's move forward to the recall, which is a serious issue. Again, race was attempted to be injected into the equation. Examine who's here. Let's define it for what it is. The recall is a citywide initiative made up of every ethnic background in the city. People who have said to themselves, this incompetency, this mismanagement, this poor use of city resources has to stop. And that is what we're doing, and we're going through the legal process of doing that. But you can have speculation, hearsay, and innuendo all you want. But once knowledge walks into the room, it dissipates. So what has happened now? Knowledge is here. Well, what do you know, Free? I know one of the most important components is the stabilization or the picking of a mayor's internal cabinet. The people who facilitate the operations of a daily city, on a daily basis, I should say. The mayor to date has been in office a year. That hasn't been done. But let's talk about the people he has brought in. They have been federally moved for investigation. They have removed themselves. They have refused to show up. They have been taken out of there sometimes in handcuffs. Do we want to keep going on? It has been incompetency after incompetency after incompetency. And we as citizens have sat back and put it on cruise mode. Yet we wonder why our city is in pure hell and chaos and in a critical state of being taken over. What else do you know, Free? I know for a week's time that we as citizens sat back and weren't sure if the water we drink and wash our children was safe for us to do so. And the mayor gave no feedback. He gave no follow-up. He didn't tell us that the problem was corrected. He didn't tell us he put any provisions in place. He didn't even tell us how we're moving forward. What's to say it doesn't happen again? Competent leadership is always proactive instead of reactive. You can't sit around and keep saying no comment. I'd rather you just keep your mouth closed. And then I'll know you don't know what you're talking about. And more importantly, I know you don't know what you're doing. Come on. Clearly, we can move forward. So what else do you know, Free? I know this week we had a 4% tax rate increase. And again, there was nothing said to beleaguered taxpayers. Nothing was told to us. You just deal with it. But again, we sit back and relax and don't say a word. So please, when you begin to give thought to what's going on and what's happening in the city, please understand this is a universal issue. It's a right thing. And it is time for Trentonians to stand up collectively together, gather our resources and manpower, and take command of our city so we can get back to stability. It can happen. It's happening right in Newark. A magnificent mayor is on point, moving that city forward. When you know what you're doing, it is validated by what you do in your city. That day has come now. Trentonians stand with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.